Hello everyone, welcome to the presentation on advantages, disadvantages and errors in MI instruments. MI means moving iron instruments. In this presentation, we will also compare moving iron instrument with PMMC instrument. I am Swati Polasar, lecturer in Electrical and Electronics Engineering, Sanjay Gandhi Government Polytechnic, Adilabad. Let us have a recap on moving iron instruments. Moving iron instruments simply work on a principle: unlike poles attract each other and like poles repel each other. And we have two types of moving iron instruments. One is repulsion type and another one is attraction type. In attraction type moving iron instrument, we will find an iron vein getting attracted to the magnetic field produced by the moving coil. And for repulsion type moving iron instrument, we are going to have two veins getting same polarities, and then they are getting repelled to each other because they have like poles. And the control that we are going to have in moving iron system, moving iron instrument, it may be either spring control or a gravity control. Gravity control is preferable when you want to operate the moving iron instrument in vertical position. In coming to the damping, we don't use eddy current damping just like we used in PMMC instrument, but we use pneumatic damping or air friction damping for moving iron instrument. Either if you take up a repulsion type or attraction type, just the way we use it will be different, but otherwise it uses the principle of air friction damping. We have also seen that moving iron instruments are also useful for AC and DC. Now for AC measurements, it indicates the RMS value. Coming to the advantages of moving iron attraction type instrument. First thing is it is cheap, it's robust. That means it is not delicate as a PMMC instrument. We don't have to use spring for conduction purpose, for flow of current, just like we had in PMMC. We have a spindle, just a simple vein is attached to a spindle. That's a moving vein is attached to a spindle. So its construction is robust. It's reasonably accurate. It may not be very, very accurate, but it is reasonably accurate and simple in operation, simple construction, high operating torques, momentarily overload capacity. We can overload the moving iron attraction type instrument momentarily without any damage to the instrument. So these are different advantages of moving iron attraction type instrument. And also we can use it for both AC and DC. This is a very good advantage. Coming to the disadvantages of moving iron attraction type instruments, it has non-uniform scale. Both of the MI instruments, whether it is attraction type or repulsion type, both will have non-uniform scale because the deflection torque is proportional to square of the current. And of course, if you go for a spring control where the controlling torque is proportional to the angle of deflection, then also you will have deflection proportional to square of current. Hence, we will have non-uniform scale. And then power consumption is more. Errors are introduced due to hysteresis and stray magnetic fields. We will see about the hysteresis error later on and stray magnetic fields also later on. Errors are also introduced due to change of frequency in case of AC. So because when we use MI instrument for AC, we will have some additional errors added. That is one of that is frequency error. Coming to the other type of moving iron instrument, which is the repulsion type, it is also going to have similar advantages of attraction type. First one, it's also cheap. We need minimum maintenance for it. Simple in operation, same robust, because we don't have any coil moving, so that we have to be very delicate with the handling of the instrument. We can handle it in a robust manner. And it is also useful for measuring AC as well as DC quantities. It is also reasonably accurate. So the advantages of repulsion type is also just like attraction type. Coming to the disadvantages, saying non-uniform scale, power consumption is high at low voltages. And coming to high voltages, it is reasonably good. The stiffness of the spring decreases with increase in temperatures. We know this as the temperatures increase, because we are going to have a coil there, and when we use it for voltmeter, we'll be having high resistance in series. There we have high temperatures. In such cases, if we use spring control, that spring will experience some stiffness as and when there is increase in temperature. It will be experiencing some stiffness problems as temperature increases. Now, hysteresis in iron of the operating system and stray magnetic field causes errors. Change in frequency of operation causes serious errors, just like the attraction. Let us have a recap on error, because our next topic is to know about different types of errors in moving iron instruments. Just have a recap on error. What is an error? It is a deviation of measured quantity from true value. So how good your MI instrument is going to measure will reduce the error. So we'll look at the causes of errors in MI instruments, different causes of errors. They are more, the errors are more in AC supply operation. So we have some additional errors introduced when you use the same MI instrument for indicating AC quality. And we have mechanical failure of moving parts. And due to external stray magnetic fields, we have some errors. So we'll see common errors in MI instruments. So the errors in MI instruments are divided as due to DC and AC. This is one classification. Due to DC currents, due to AC currents, due to DC voltages and due to AC voltages. Other one is due to stray magnetic field. That is, magnetic field of the coil changes and causing errors in the reading because of external magnetic fields. Now we'll see the other one is due to rise in temperature. And as we have seen already, the spring stiffness increases and the permeability of the core decreases due to rise in temperature. As the temperature increases, the permeability of the core will get reduced and the stiffness of the spring will get increased. Coming to hysteresis error, hysteric error, we'll see it in later on. So because of this hysteresis error, in AC operation, the meter reading is higher than the normal value. And we have frictional errors. We had this in PMMC also. For this frictional error is basically due to dust accumulation and improper compensation or machining. While you're aligning your spindle between the jewel bearings, it should be properly aligned. If the compensation of the pointer or the damping parts, the weight compensation should be proper, machining should be proper. If it is not proper, we are going to see more frictional errors. And observational errors, zero adjustment, parallax error, and aging due to continuous operation and exposed to high temperatures, parts inside MI instrument will get aged. Coming to eddy currents, the effect is more in AC operations. Why? Because we have a vane, the magnetic material, it is placed in the moving vane especially, it's placed in a magnetic field, it is moving. So there will be some eddy currents in that vane. Temperature error. Temperature error can be reduced by using swamping resistance. So we see that we have a coil made up of copper. Copper will be having some resistivity. Why? Because we are using a long copper material there, long wire for making a coil there. We cannot ignore the resistance of copper. Now, for different for continuous operation, there will be I square or loss, and because of that, we can have temperature rise in the instrument, and with that temperature instrument, the material conductivity will change, and this will introduce some kind of error, and that can be adjusted by using a swamping resistance, which offers always constant resistance in the circuit. This is happening because of temperature error. Now we are discussing about the remedies. So we have seen that to reduce the temperature error, we can use a swamping resistance. It's a resistance connected in series, resistance of low value. And coming to observational error, we have seen that there are many causes for observational error. One of it is a zero error. Zero error means the pointer should be showing 0 before connecting it to the circuit for measurement purpose. If it is not showing 0, if the pointer is below 0 or above 0, we have to adjust the pointer position to 0 and then use it further. Otherwise, we will face error in the indicated value because the pointer will no more indicate the correct value. Example, if the meter is showing, say we have an MI meter which is supposed to show, MI ammeter, say it is supposed to show the reading from 0 to 5 amperes. It's 0 to 5 ranging ammeter. Now when I pick up the meter and look at it, I see the pointer above 0 level. See, it is showing 0.5 without connecting it in any circuit. And I just go and try to measure a current value whose true value I already know, say it is 2 amperes. Now my meter should be showing 2 when I connect it to measure the current, but instead of 2, because it is not adjusted to 0, it was showing 0.5 before connecting it. Now I'll be seeing 2.5 amperes instead of 2 amperes. Let me just show you the same thing. We'll have it in two cases. So we have discussed case 1, and the case 1 says that pointer is supposed to show at 0, but it is not showing at 0. They say this is a calibrated scale, and here is our 0 marking, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4, and here is 5. Now, before connecting it to any circuit, say my pointer is already showing 0.5. So this is the case of my pointer, and I am using this meter as it is. Now I know the true value of the current. Say the true value of the current is 2 amperes, and I am trying to measure the same thing. Now when I use the ammeter as it is, instead of 2 amperes, it will be showing let me show you the shown value in terms of pink. Instead of the pointer is already at 0.5. When I connect it to circuit, it should have shown 2, but instead of 2, it will be showing 2.5. So indicated value will be 2.5 amperes instead of 2 amperes. So we will have error of 0.5 amperes already. This 0.5 ampere error was simply introduced because of zero error. So before using the meter, we have to adjust it to 0.5 to 0 and then use it. Then only we will get correct value. So initial correction of zero error is compulsory. Now to reduce the parallax error, we have to use a mirror. Generally, most of the meters will be having a mirror behind on the scale. So we have to take the reading in such a manner that our view should be in such a manner that we should not be able to see the image of the pointer in the mirror. That means the pointer and the mirror image of the pointer should coincide, and then we have to take the reading which the pointer is indicating under that position of view. So just by placing a mirror, we can below the scale we can easily avoid observational error, especially parallax error. Coming to hysteresis error. So this hysteresis error is reduced by using new metal or permalloy core. First, let us try to understand what is this hysteresis error, where we are getting this hysteresis error. Now, for a MI instrument, we have a coil. We'll take attraction type. This is a coil, sectional view of a coil. And these are the coil conductors. Okay. And here is our spindle. And there is our vane. So this vane, when your coil is excited, this vane should get attracted this side. Now suppose my current direction is in this way, and for this way of current direction, my north pole, the north pole that is induced is here and the south pole is here. So here we'll have south pole polarity produced here and north polarity here. Then only our vane will try to get attracted towards the north. When you are trying to measure alternating currents, for alternating currents, we will have, so this is current with respect to time. We will have positive alternation and negative alternation. For a positive alternation, that means for the current direction shown here, we had north pole induced here and south pole produced here. Because of that, we had some polarity developed in the vein. Here we had south pole and here we had north pole. And south and north are unlike poles, so your vein is getting attracted towards the coil. Now we will look into what happens when the negative half cycle comes. So this occurs, say our frequency is 50 hertz, that means the time period is 0.02 seconds. That means 0.01 second will be, for 0.01 seconds, we'll have positive alternation. That means for 0.01 seconds, here we had south and here we had north. After 0.01 seconds, we will have reversal in current. Let me show it in yellow. For reversal in current, instead of white, we will have yellow direction of the current. So this is for negative half cycle. Now for that, we will have south pole created here and north pole created here because this is reversed. Now when it is reversed, in the vein also, we will have north pole created here and south pole created here. Then only it will get attracted. Of course, because it is created, then it will get attracted. Now this happens in 0.02 seconds, we have one reversal. You imagine we measure it for say 1 minute or 2 minutes. In that 2 minutes, how many magnetic reversal happens in this vein? Now, because of magnetic reversal in the vein and also because of magnetic reversal of the core, because some energy is required for this magnetic reversal. So that is some loss in energy. That means the current that you give for measurement, so some of the energy is used for reversal of the hysteresis, reversal of the magnetic poles, and hence only some rest of the current is used for measurement purpose. That means there will be some error introduced because of this hysteresis. In order to reduce that, we have to pick metals which support easy reversal, which consumes very less energy for reversal of the magnetic poles inside the material. So such type of materials are mu metals or permalloy core metals. So we use this. So when we use this kind of metals, then we can have less hysteresis errors. Remedial measures to other errors like frequency error. We have frequency errors in the MI instrument. In order to reduce those frequency errors, we connect capacitor across a moving coil. So say this is your moving coil instrument. Across it, we place a capacitor. By doing so, we can reduce the frequency errors because we cannot have a constant frequency input all the times. Because of this frequency, we'll have some errors introduced. In order to reduce those errors, we can connect a capacitor across the moving coil. Stray field errors. So stray field means external field So if we had a situation that we use our MI instrument in external field, so here you have source of external field, this side north and this side south. It may be any other instrument, maybe a motor, maybe a generator, with where we have a strong magnetic field. No, because and here I'm having a my small MI instrument. In this MI instrument, I'll be having a coil and I'll be having a vane and all. This is my pointer. It will show some readings. Okay. Now, when I bring my meter to close to the external magnetic field, this vane or the resultant magnetic field in this area will be will not be the same without this external field, because we are going to have resultant magnetic field of the external magnetic field and also magnetic field produced inside the meter. And because of this, we will have change in functionality of the MI instrument, because overall strength of the magnetic field that the vane is seeing will change. It may be varying how we have the magnetic field. It may be aiding or it may be difference. It may be magnetizing or it may be difference, that means demagnetizing, or it may be cross magnetizing. These are different effects that the external magnetic field has upon this magnetic field, and the resultant magnetic field will be seen by the vane and it will act accordingly. So without the external field, our meter behavior is calibrated and it will be showing correct value. But when it comes under the straight field, its behavior will get changed. That means there are some errors introduced, and these are what we call a stray field error. So in order to avoid the stray field error, we have to contain the external field out of the box. That is the case of the MI instrument. So the case or shielding of the MI instrument should be steel. It should have a steel lining. Why? Because when magnetic field, external magnetic field comes, it will be more concentrated on steel lining only. It will not enter inside the case, because steel is a hypermeable material. It will be concentrating the magnetic lines of force, and you will have continuity of the magnetic lines of force. So this is how we can avoid external fields entering into the meter and disturbing the characteristics of the meter. Now, frictional error. Frictional error generally comes where we have the interface between a moving part and a stationary part. So moving part is supported by spindle. So we have a pivot well bearing. There we will see frictional errors. After usages of many years or after usages under dusty environment, we can find some small particles of dust entering into the meter and accumulated at jewel bearing. So if in that bearing also, if dust is accumulated, we have to clean it. Maintenance is required for that. Our casing should be perfect there. So generally, jewel bearing provides less friction. If jewel bearing is not there, then frictional error would have been more. Already we use dual bearing and also we use steel lined case, and we have already a capacitor connected across the moving iron. These are all we already take care in construction of a moving iron instrument. Aging, aging problem will be eliminated only by replacing the old ones with the spare ones. Few aging problems like say our spring got some changes in thickness and then it exhibits some error, then we need to calibrate the meter again and then we can use it for some more time. But otherwise, the permanent solution would be, of course, not a permanent, a long-term solution would be just by replacing the old ones with a new spare ones. We have this aging problem for spring, especially. When just try to understand the accuracy and standard of methods. So what is accuracy? And accuracy, it is the closeness with which an instrument reading approaches the true value of the quantity being measured. Suppose the true value is 2 amperes and the meter is showing 1.9 ampere and or 1.95 ampere. That means it's a very good accurate, it's an accurate instrument. It is very close to the true value. So like that, we will just measure accuracy. And standard means, standard is a physical representation of unit measurement. So standard is a physical representation of a unit measurement. So we'll see accuracy and standard of methods. The accuracy of MC instrument usually is of order 2% of full scale deflection. So it's a not bad, good accuracy. We'll have it of order 2% of full scale deflection. The reason being is torque to weight ratio is very high. And the accuracy of MI instruments vary between 0.75 to 2% depending on frequency. So it depends on frequency. More is the frequency. We'll have frequency errors as we have seen already. So accuracy of MI instruments vary between 0.75 to 2%. So here we have seen for permanent magnet moving coil instrument, its accuracy is of order 2% of full scale deflection. But for MI, it is going to vary from 0.75 to 2%, that too depending on frequency. Accuracy of moving iron instrument is affected by following factors. Temperature. So temperature rise increases the resistance of solenoid, decreases the torque. Aging, as time passes by, spring becomes more stiff, control torque produced will be affected. Permeability of the core, change in permeability affects the torque. And friction, increase in friction in the moving system affects the moving arts, that means moving system. Stray field influence the working of instrument. So this how we had different effects. Almost all the errors are affecting the accuracy of the machine. That is the summary. The underlying point behind is that accuracy is affected by different errors. Now let us compare MC instruments and MI instruments. Before comparing MC and MI, in this presentation so far, we will just revise what we have covered. Let me restate what we have covered so far. So we have seen a recap of MI instruments and we have seen advantages of different types of MI instruments like attraction type and repulsion type, and then we have seen different errors, causes of errors, different types of errors that can occur in MI instruments, and what are remedies for that errors, how to overcome with the errors, and then we have seen how errors will affect accuracy and standard of our meter, and we have seen figures of accuracy of MC instruments. It is around 2% of full scale deflection, and accuracy of MI instrument, it is 0.75 to 2% of FSD, full scale deflection. That too, it depends on frequency. So frequency affects a lot for AC measurements in MI instruments. So that is what we have seen so far, and we just want to compare a moving coil instrument with moving iron instrument in all possible aspects, keeping all these points in view. Let us just have a quick recap on moving coil instrument so that our comparison is easily understandable. So coming to the recap of permanent magnet moving coil instrument, the deflection torque principle is the torque is exerted on current carrying coil placed in a magnetic field. So we have a coil, and that coil carries the current, and that is placed in a magnetic field of a permanent magnet. Hence, by Fleming's left-hand rule, there will be force exerted on a conductor which is carrying current placed in a magnetic field. Because it is supported at center, there will be equal and opposite forces acting on both the sides of a rectangular coil. So obviously your coil will start moving because a torque is developed there, and that torque we call as deflection torque. So this is an electromagnetic effect. Coming to the controlling torque in moving coil instrument, spring control is used. This spring does two purposes. One is to produce control torque, and another one is to complete the electrical circuit. This spring will conduct and it will complete the electrical circuit. This spring, there will be two springs. Each spring has two terminals. One will be connected to the external lead, and another one will be connected to the spindle, and finally to the coil, which is again attached to the spindle. So that is how the spring does two jobs. And coming to the damping torque, we have eddy current damping as the rectangular coil is placed on a rectangular former, and that former is on a force. So it's a very bit complicated construction of MC, but the sensitivity of MC is very high. And after discussing about the construction working principle of a permanent magnet moving coil, let us proceed further. Step by step in detail, we will look at the comparison of permanent magnet moving coil instrument with a MI instruments. So comparison between MC and MI instruments. We have formulated a table which will try to discuss about an aspect, and in that aspect how your moving coil exhibits and how your moving iron exhibits in that aspect. Our first aspect is deflecting torque. So deflecting torque is produced and then coil moves in the magnetic field. So the deflecting torque is produced in the coil, and hence the coil moves in the magnetic field. And in moving iron, we have the deflecting torque moving the soft iron piece in the magnetic field produced by the coil. So here in the first case, we have coil moving in the magnetic field. In the second case, we have iron moving in the magnetic field produced by the coil. So iron moves and coil is stationary. Your coil moves, magnetic field is stationary. The second one is deflection torque to current relation. As we have seen in PMMC instruments in our previous presentations, the deflection torque is directly proportional to the angle of deflection, or the deflection torque is directly proportional to the current here. If we revise, if we recollect the deflection torque formula, it is BIAM, where B is the flux density. So let me write it here. Our deflection torque, I'll write it in red, blue. So formula for deflection torque was flux density, current carried by the coil in surface area of the rectangular former, and we have number of turns of the coil. So this is the formula for deflection torque. So deflection torque is proportional to current. Coming to the deflection torque of the moving iron, we have it proportional to I square. Our deflection torque is proportional to I square. Now let us go for next aspect. Damping torque. For PMMC instruments, moving coil instruments, so when we have generalized it to moving coil, for the first case, the coil moves in a magnetic field. For PMMC, it is going to be a permanent magnetic field. For dynamometer type, it is just going to be an electromagnetic field that we will see later. So we are just trying to compare MC with MI, not PMMC with MI. Please keep that in mind, and that is the reason why we have just placed magnetic field over here. And coming to the damping torques, for moving coil, we'll have eddy current damping. Damping is provided by eddy currents. And for moving iron, it is pneumatic damping or air friction damping. Now, the fourth aspect, and eddy current damping is not possible for MI instruments. We will go for control torque. Control torque, spring control instrument. Moving coil is spring control instrument because spring does two jobs. So we have an advantage of having spring control there. And moving iron is gravity controlled instrument. We can also have spring control, but gravity control, if we use static error due to aging can be reduced if we go for gravity control in moving iron instrument. Why? Because anyways, our scale is not uniform in MI instruments. But for MC instruments, we had TD proportional to I. There is every possibility of having uniform scale, and hence we go for spring control because controlling torque is directly proportional to theta, and it does two jobs of conduction of current to two. So we can go for spring control in MC. Coming to MI, anyhow, the deflection torque is not proportional to current, and so if we go for spring control, there are problems with static or stiffness problems with the spring, so we can go for gravity control to avoid the errors of aging related to spring. And coming to the next one is controlling torque. Controlling torque in MC, because we use spring, it is directly proportional to deflection. And for MR, because we use gravity, it is proportional to sine of angle of deflection. And coming to the scale, scale is uniform for PMMC. It is uniform for PMMC or MC instruments. And for MI, it is going to be non-uniform. Coming to the construction. MC instruments, because we have coil moving and we have to connect ends of the coil with the spring and we have to solder it carefully. So the MC instruments are sensitive and also very delicate. They are very delicate. Coming to MI, it's robust, reasonably accurate instruments. It is robust. The advantages of MC is they are sensitive, so they are more accurate. And coming to MI, they are robust, but they are reasonably accurate. Coming to the power consumption, for MC instruments, power consumption is very low because it simply, there is a current carrying conductor in a magnetic field, so there will be force experienced on a conductor. By that, we have torque developed. But coming to the MI, there is a force developed in the vein, and then there will be a force of repulsion. So for that, we'll have higher power consumption compared to MC instruments. And also the power consumption, we have certain hysteresis also coming into picture for MI. For MI, because of hysteresis also, we'll have a bit more power consumption. Coming to the applications, MC instruments are used in DC circuits, but MI instruments are used for both AC and DC circuits. Error prone is high when we use it for AC because of frequency errors, hysteresis errors. Now, how can we use a basic MC meter and how can we use a basic MI meters? Let us have a look over it. We can use basic MC meter as a voltmeter or as an ammeter or as a galvanometer. We can also use it for ohm meter too. Coming to MI, we can use it as ammeter, voltmeter, wattmeter. So the expected learning outcomes of the presentation, we will have a quick recap on what we have learned here. So after completion of the presentation, the student must be able or should be able to list the errors commonly occurring in MI instruments. They should be able to state the advantages and disadvantages of MI instruments. And they should be able to compare MC and MI instruments in various aspects. We have taken around 10 aspects here and compared MC and MI. So, thank you for listening. Hope the session was useful. Thank you.